Hello everyone, I hope you're ready for a cramped pirate ship chapter 18 of Fire Emblem 7 Intended Ranks. Can't wait to get into it. You ready, Altissimo?
Yes, but actually there is something I wanted to go over beforehand.
Uh-oh.
No, it's nothing problematic or anything, but someone on my channel has been attempting to recreate this run on the Switch GBA port of the game.
Oh.
And this is going to be interesting because I used an emulator, and I've heard that there are some emulator and ROM differences that might affect whether or not you can actually recreate this run on like the GBA port. So it'll be interesting to see if this is able to be finished or not. But he already did run into something a little funny that he wanted me to point out. In chapter 17, there's a part where Marcus is attacked by two archers next to the archer room near the top of the map. And he kills both of them. And I remember Mecha was commenting on that, like, why is he taking out both of those archers? It's because he was setting up the rescue drop. But the person who was following along had an issue where Marcus missed one of the archers, and that ended up resulting in a different RNG, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So we were discussing it, trying to figure out what the issue was, and eventually he realized it's because his Tactician was a different affinity. And it's one of those things that you might not think about, because I didn't think about it either.
You're ice, right?
Yeah, ice. So the one extra hit that it gave Marcus was enough to make the difference between hitting or missing that one archer. So this is just a PSA for anyone who's interested in replicating this. Make sure your Tactician is ice affinity.
Yep, that's Marcus's affinity. It's funny because I remember Theo Nordquester, who made the Lin hard mode sequence. They actually specifically mentioned what affinity should be in all of their called logs, I guess, instructions. And apparently it goes wrong as early as chapter 12 if you don't follow their instructions exactly.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just one of those things you might not think about, so just make sure to keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how the rest of this dude's runs goes.
All right, good. Shall we see if the ice affinity is impactful in chapter 18 then?
All right, sure. Marcus is deployed, so.
All right, let's look at it. 3, 2, 1, play. I see Marcus is deployed. I see Cracked Sane and Florinar here. This map is so difficult. This is one of the harder maps if you're in Hector Hard Mode, I find, especially for Iron Man runs, because every enemy type is problematic in some way. Nice 5 stars all around. It's like the Pegasi they suck statistically, but they can reach everywhere across the ship, except they can't fly around the masts, I guess. And then the Shamans, most units don't have good res, and then Mercs, they double people. So what's with the units that we have here then?
This is a lot of my strategy here was kind of inspired by what Melf did in his version of this run, because one of the things that he wanted to do was steal everything on the map, not just the Elysian Whip or the Guiding Ring or whatever, but also like the Pure Waters. And I do not manage to get the Vulnerary off the Pegasus Knight, but that one I don't give as much of a crap about. But the other stuff I do, and so making Matthew get into the line of fire in order to kill shamans, making sure the shamans don't suicide on my units with 2 range, stuff like that is actually a lot more difficult than you might think.
Because they're the ones with Pure Water, right?
Yeah. So that's basically why I decided to try to kind of copy a lot of his strategy. At this point, he had a promoted Sane, so he didn't need to bring Marcus. The thing about Marcus being here is because you need an 8-move unit to get to that spot where Marcus is at now.
Yeah, I usually thought you needed 2, one for Florina's spot and one for Marcus's spot. I usually have Marcus go for the left because he has more res than most units, but I guess Cracked Florina can just fly over the deck and get there by herself. Because that's usually the awkward part, is having 2 units able to choke these points.
Cracked Florina is not threatened by a whole lot on this map. And neither is Cracked Sane. Part of why Oswin is here is because he's actually pretty good at tanking the Mercs. He's not really going to go to see the combat with the Shamans a whole lot. But the big thing is that Matthew is going to be in danger from the Shamans and from the Pegasus Knights that are able to reach him. So we just need some way of making sure not too many enemies can get into the middle of the boat or anything.
Yeah, the way Pegasus are positioned right now is not the most awful thing in the world. I think there are 3 in range of javelins if you count Florina's. That's usually the most awkward part about these Pegasus Knights. They'll sit somewhere where you can't attack them, but next turn they'll go for someone like Matthew or Priscilla and pick them off.
Right, and Priscilla too. I'd forgotten she was on the map, but she's also difficult to protect for the same reason.
It's funny because Priscilla has some pre-battle dialogue in one of the modes about her maybe being seasick or what. She's like, no, I'm fine. There's also pre-battle dialogue with D where he's like, oh, I'm seasick, I'm dying.
Yeah, I think that one's Elliewood mode, and the Priscilla is Hector mode, I think. I'm not entirely sure how those pre-battle dialogues work out.
Yeah, sounds about right. Oswin is ideal for the Mercs though, because he's accurate, nobody doubles anyway, so the fact that he has 5 base speed doesn't matter, and he's never going to die, so you don't have to worry about Priscilla healing him.
Right, I think there's one port where he's just on 2 HP for like several turns because the enemies are actually doing 0 damage or something like that. So okay. We'll see that in progress.
Looks like you're letting the shamans out though. Like they're just you left the choke point with Florina.
Yes, I did, because I need some way for them to get in range of Matthew, since Matthew went up to steal the Elysian Web.
Do you know how many of these guys have Pure Waters?
I want to say 3. I think one of them's still on the left boat, but I think 2 of them are on this boat now. I'd have to look at the map again. No, but I need to get them out of there and in range of Matthew.
Yeah, I guess it's easier to get them to move towards Matthew, and then, oh, looks kind of scary though. 10 HP and there's a Shaman and a Pegasus in range. Whoops.
Yeah. One of those moments that was not reliable, but worked out.
For Matthew. I mean, his Avoid is good when he's raised, but I don't believe your Matthew is like super high level. I don't think he got a lot of Lin levels, right?
He got no Lin levels. I think he's gotten a couple since then, but I don't know how many or what stats they gave him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he has an XP boost, so he probably got something somewhere.
Yeah. My Hector is unfortunately unable to double these Pegasus Knights, which is annoying, because otherwise I would want him to just stay up here and kill the Pegasus, but since he can't double them, I need people like Sane to be able to take them out. That's why Sane is up here.
I mean, I'm trying to remember what the Pegasus I have. I think they're either iron or steel, and maybe like 1 javelin somewhere in there. I'm assuming he doubles the slower ones.
Yeah, the slower ones. But like, for instance, the one that Matthew stole the Elysian Whip from, I would have wanted Hector to kill it, but he couldn't, so that's why Cracked Sane had to come up and do that.
Fair enough. I mean, at least Cracked Sane is like level 15 or something at this point, so it's not the worst, but yeah, we're already seeing some effects of the hard mode XP cut here, with people only getting like 20 XP for a kill, and that's like Canas, that's not even a particularly high level unit. Yeah,
this was fun, in a manner of speaking, to deal with the cut. FE6 has been more interesting in that regard. I shouldn't say more interesting. I actually don't like FE6 ranked as much, but trying to do it with the experience, it's like, oh my god, they're actually getting 40 XP from a kill! This is great!
Mm-hmm. I guess one thing that we didn't address that I maybe should is this is not a map where you have to defend. You can just kill a boss on like turn 3 or 4 with Marcus very easily. He has no trouble whatsoever just mowing through the left boats where all the shamans are, and just kill the boss. That way you do generally miss out on the Guiding Ring unless you bring Matthew along with some kind of rescue chain. But you seem to be happy sticking to the middle ship.
Yeah, first off, like I said, I did want Matthew to steal as many items as he can, so that takes a few turns to do. But second off, the ranks, or the turn count, the tactics rank, sorry, is lenient enough in intended ranks to where I can afford to just wait till turn 11 to kill them. If this were a regular ranked run, this would be a case where maybe I would want to end the chapter early in order to save a couple turns.
Yeah, this would be one of those chapters where if you didn't kill the boss at all, you'd get a 12th turn, right? Just add it onto your rank.
I think so, yeah. I've never confirmed that because I always kill the boss, but I think that would be how that works, yes.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is probably a pretty good chapter to prolong, because, again, just like in chapter 16, the way to significantly speed up the chapter will probably involve with a lot of Marcus kills and a lot of missed out kills. I think from some turn onwards, you get reinforcements almost every turn. Like, we just got 4 Pegasus Knights, and I know at some points, they even get in a 4th boat at the bottom with a plank with, like, at least 4 enemies per turn again. So, if you're gonna make chapters longer, I think this would be one of the first ones that you're gonna...
Yeah, definitely, because the enemy types and the lack of deployment slots are just so annoying for pretty much your entire army. So you really, if you're gonna try to grind out EXP here, it needs to be like Oswin, it needs to be like Cracked Sane, or another Cav, if you've got one that's particularly cracked. Like, there really aren't a lot of options for who makes the most use out of the experience here.
Yeah, that's true. You don't really have a lot of leeway to deploy someone like Will or Rebecca or something like, I don't know, Dorcas or Bartre here. Even though, in theory, they'd be pretty good at, say, killing Pegasus Knights, but you're not good enough to survive enemy phases and stick around. You already have some defensive targets to defend anyway, so they just make it harder. So I guess this is more just the rich get richer in terms of XP.
Yeah, pretty much. Kanas is here because I want to like really focus on training him in the next several chapters. But also because he's not a bad choice here as long as he's not in range of any physical units. But he's, you know, able to go toe to toe with the enemy shamans better than probably anyone else except maybe Florina or Marcus. So he's not a bad choice there. You could also, if you have trained Lucius, he's not a bad choice either for basically the same reason.
Yeah.
Although you do have to keep Lucius safe from the Pegasus Knights more than you probably do Kanas.
Yeah, I want to say Kanas can survive one hit, maybe two, depending on what kind of Pegasus Knight is attacking him. I know that when I first played this game, like for the very first time, I had Kanas fight Shamans and just one-round them. Like at base level, he just doubles and kills them in one round. Hector Hard Mode, I think he doesn't one-round them, but like you said, he has enough res to at least survive. And weaken him to the point where even someone like Matthew can kill him without taking a counter. That alone is valuable.
Right.
There's
and here's where Oswin, 5 HP, getting attacked by multiple enemies, but doesn't take any damage.
I mean, I think there's like one Armor Slayer merc somewhere. As long as they can avoid that at that 5 HP, you should be good.
Yeah. I mean, that might have been what got him down to such low HP in the first place. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gotta be that or a Shaman.
Yeah. So Kanas is at 10 speed. I've been really trying to rig speed level ups on him because he's one of those guys that it's like, I don't care how much magic he gets, but I care about how much speed he gets.
Yeah, Kanas is usually able to two-shop most enemy types because of their low res, but without the promotion bonus, he's going to struggle to double so much if you're training him all the way to 20.
Yeah, we're not early promoting him, so that means he has to wait a little longer to get that that +4.
Is there like an enemy from the bottom? Sorry, is there an enemy from the bottom ship that you're waiting for to steal with Matthew? Because otherwise, he could be making his way to the boss already.
No, last turn he was a little further to the right, and I think I just moved him like barely to the left to avoid him being in range of that shaman or something, and then he's going to be going over to the left ship whenever like Florian is cleared up to help him out.
At his convenience.
Yeah, basically.
Remember the mercs have like a bunch of weird whips on this ship. I know there's like a long sword that you already dropped. There's a Lance Reaver somewhere that makes it annoying for Oswin or Sane to hit them. There's the Armor Slayer I mentioned before. It's a very weird place to tank. Even like usually these people won't die, but they'll just miss the mercs over and over if you do it wrong.
Yeah. That's another reason why this is frustrating, because it's like even if you have a unit type who can take on the mercs, you know, if they're a Cav, there's a Longsword. If they're Oswin, there's an Armor Slayer. If they're like, I don't know, Florina, there's Lance Reaver. So it's like there's no, and I don't think you have an Axe Reaver at this point. So there's like no good units to take on that while still maintaining weapon triangle, except for Marcus.
Very brave of you to just C4 Pegasus Knights and just put Priscilla in the center of the ship in range of 2 of them. Yeah, they'll take care of it. My friends will take care of this, right?
Yep, right? That is what's happening, yes. Because Marcus has 2 range, and we have Cracksane still left to make a movement.
Oh yeah, and Florian can get the left one, I guess. It's always so nice when Florian has trained in this chapter, because then you can pick off Pegasi in annoying spots that you otherwise couldn't reach. I remember that's like, not just massive in this kind of context, but for example for draft racing, I remember that's like really nice to be able to do. Yeah,
I guess Matthew is still waiting out of range of that shaman. I think that one to the left is the one with the Pier Water. And the reason Floriana used an Iron Lance to kill the Pegasus Knight instead of a jab is so that she wouldn't kill the shamans on the next phase.
Oh, I was wondering about that, because Javelin Floriana actually doubles here and just massacres all the shamans. That's so nice. It cleans up so much space. That's also one of the most annoying parts about having to get Matthew somewhere is if he gets attacked by a shaman, not only does the shaman not get countered, he also takes a massive amount of damage, and you have to dedicate someone else to clean up the shaman.
Right. So this chapter is a lot easier if you don't try to steal Pier Waters. Is what the moral of this chapter should be.
Yeah. Well, at least now you have Pure Waters, so it'll make it easier to say bring an unlevel unit to a later chapter and drink a Pure Water. Although they're fairly expensive per use, so you don't want to do that.
Yeah. So I don't actually know if I ever use them. I probably just stick to the barrier staff.
That's fair. I guess the barrier staff is significantly cheaper per use. Yeah.
It also gives EXP. So it's like any time when you have the option between using a staff and getting EXP and not using a staff and not getting EXP, it's like probably the better option is to use the staff. That goes for stuff like Torch as well. Although obviously it's useful on a thief. But if you do have a staff user of the Torch staff, like there's no reason not to use it when you can.
Yeah.
Such as Living Legend.
Yeah. I was thinking of like some other chapters when it comes to like the mending staves and like how expensive they are, but I don't know. I think you already said your funds rank was well enough planned out. You can't use these staves without losing out on the funds rank.
Yeah. At the end of the run, I have I think about like 10,000 leeway, a little over 10,000 leeway over the intended funds rank. After using all those stabs wildly. So it's like, you know, at that point you can use one stat booster, or you can promote a unit, or you can use more expensive weapons and, like, feel good about it. But not much more than that.
And I guess that's partially because you're able to hold back on using items like Pure Water, which are like 300 gold per use, I think. Or no, they're 100 gold per use, I think, as you're buying them for. Wait, I might be confused, but they're expensive.
No, I think you're thinking of vulneraries, which are 300 gold.
Oh, yeah.
So those are 100 per use. I also barely use vulneraries either.
Yeah, true.
And I tend to use not a lot of expensive weapons, except where I absolutely have to.
Yeah, I mean, a use of Silverlands here and there is not going to break the bank, right? Because then we're talking like very small numbers of gold. Because yeah, sure, those things are expensive to buy a whole, but they're 20 uses each. It's not the same thing as a Vuln or Pure Water.
Right. And sometimes you just need a strong weapon to take someone down in the moment. There's not really anything you can do about that.
Yeah, it's not often in FE7, I feel like, that you have to whip out the Silverlands with Marcus, because he just kills everything with iron weapons most of the time, but sometimes it happens, like a mercenary or something.
Yes, FE6 is proving to be a lot more demanding of some of those special weapons, so...
Yeah, there's that reinforcement grind coming in. This is turn 10, I think like at least 6 more enemies just appeared, like all around the boat, maybe even 8.
Yeah, again, this is one of those reasons this chapter is so annoying, because they just show up, the Pegasus Knights can get to you when you can't get to them, and yeah, there's lots of reasons this map probably shouldn't take you 11 turns if you don't want it to.
Yeah, it's definitely a map where the earlier you clear it, the easier it gets, because if Marcus just kills the boss on turn 3, you never see most of these enemies even. So if you just do that choke point strategy, the map just kind of goes away. The issue for me usually is finding a second person to do that choke point with, because I usually don't have a 4 now with 30 HP and that much speed.
Or cracked Sane either.
Yeah, I feel like your Sane seems to be mostly focused on offense. I'm not sure how bulky he is in that regard, but maybe his defense is fine too.
He's not. He's got horrible stats other than strength and speed, honestly. So, yeah, I don't know how long he would survive. The level advantage in the amount of speed he has might mean he could dodge tank a bit, but it's probably not nearly as reliable as say, Florina. I don't know. They're calling Florina more reliable is weird.
Honestly, with Sane, I would also be afraid of him suffering from success, especially from Shamans, because he just cleared them out over and over with the Javelin. Although he might miss and save his own life that way.
He has no skills, so that's definitely a possibility.
Good to see Kanas can double those Pegasus Knights and kill them in one round. I would love to see it, the mage killing class. Yeah, way too many enemies not to kill someone with Marcus.
Yeah, it is what it is. And it's really just in service of having EXP at this point.
Yeah, it's even turn 11, there's still more enemies just appearing, so I think unless Marcus just equips the Silverlands, these people are not going to die.
Yeah, I'm not taking out all these enemies, which is like, why are they even here then? I guess just to make your life annoying.
Speaking of wild enemies, I just remember that some of these mercs have slim swords of all things, like why?
Oh yeah! I told this story not too long ago in the r/Fire Emblem server, but I was once doing a like round robin FE6 with 2 of my friends, where each one of us would play a chapter and then we'd send the save file to the other friend. We didn't finish that, but I did get the file back at one point from a friend who hadn't played FE6 before, and Rutger was holding a slim sword.
That's the one way Rutger might not kill everything with a double crit. Anyway, Sage just killed the boss and didn't get Luna crit. Hooray!
Yep. I think he actually might have on one of my original versions of that turn. But I had to just redo it. Because no one could survive the Luna crit, and I'm not doing the funny supported Dorcas method.
Aw, such a shame. Oh well, that's chapter 18 wrapped up in exactly 11 turns, just like the chapter title says, or just like the chapter objective says. So we'll see you next time.
Bye!